So here's what we're going to make. On the left side, I have a screen recording of my phone. On the right side, I have a simulator of the Xcode Mac. So I'm going to host on the Mac simulator and join on my phone. And then you can see on the Mac, it says waiting for someone to connect. And on my phone, it gives me the option to connect to the MacBook Pro. So once I accept that and I click done, I can do the chat. So as you can see, this actually works using Bluetooth multi-peer connectivity. So I'm going to show you how to do it. So to start off, we have to import multi-peer connectivity, and then we need to add the MC session delegate and MC browser delegate, MC browser view controller delegate. And so by doing this, we're going to get a bunch of errors. So when we fix those errors, we're going to get all these functions we need to have because of the delegates. So I just moved these functions to the bottom and got rid of the placeholder code. Most of those functions we're actually not going to use, but some of them are pretty important. So now I'm creating some variables that are important for using Multipeer. So in viewDidLoad, I'm setting the peer ID equal to the device's actual name. So like if your device's name is like Jenna's iPhone, then the peer ID will say Jenna's iPhone. And so here I'm basically just setting up the MC session. Now this part is not multi-peer related, but I always like to add when the view is clicked and the keyboard is up, then the keyboard will go away. So I'm creating a tap gesture, I'm putting it over the entire view, and then when the tap gesture is tapped, it's going to call a function that gets rid of the keyboard. So I'm going to set hosting equal to false in the viewDidLoad, and then we're going to start working on the connection buttons action. So I'm going to create an if, else if, and else statement. So the first statement is if the number of peers in the session is equal to 0 and you're not hosting. The second one is if the number of peers is 0 but you are hosting. And the last one is just so there are people in the session. And we're going to create a connection option and a disconnection option. So I copied and pasted this because it's a lot of code. Basically, we're creating an action sheet, which is a type of alert. It gives you 3 options: a host chat, a join chat, and a cancel, which is a simple cancel. The host chat will turn the MC advertiser assistant on, which broadcasts a signal. The join chat will look for signals, and we're setting the signal name to doesn't matter. It can basically be whatever you want. Also, if they click host chat, we're setting hosting to true. So I've copied and pasted this part too. Basically it says if you're hosting and nobody has joined yet, it'll tell you that you're waiting for people to join, but it'll still give you the option to disconnect and quit your hosting session. And it also has a cancel option. So that was the else if, and now this is the else statement. Basically, it just gives the user the choice to disconnect once they've already connected to another person. Just thought about it, but I decided to put the disconnect in the view did load as well, so you're not connected once you open up the app. So in the send button, we're going to say if the input text field isn't empty, and then if it is empty. So if it's empty, we're just going to put an alert that says you haven't entered anything, and it doesn't really do anything else besides that. If it isn't empty, we're going to take the message inside the input text field and prepare it to be sent to the other device. So the message that's going to be sent is my peer ID, whatever I put in the text field. So Multipeer can only send anything as data, so we have to convert this string into data. So once it's in data, we need to use a do catch statement so we can try and send the data to the other connected peers using the multipeer send function. And then after we've sent the message, we also want it to appear on our screen too, because the chat shows what people have sent to you, but also what you've sent. So we're gonna make the chat text view dot text equal to whatever it was before plus what we've just said. And then now we're going to clear the input text field. So these are the mandatory functions for Multipeer, and we don't actually need to use all of them, but for the first one, we need a switch statement, and it'll tell us the state of each of the connecting peers, whether they're connected, disconnected, or connecting. This would also be a good place to check if the send button should be enabled. So if the number of connected peers is 0, then the send button should be disabled. But if the number of connected peers is greater than 0, then the button should be enabled. By far the most important function is the did receive data function. So we're going to use dispatch to make sure that the code that runs here runs in the main thread. So here we're going to take the data that was sent from a peer, convert the data into a string, and then display the string in the chat text view. So here, we took the data, casted it as a string, and then put it in the receive message variable. And then now we're going to take the chat text view text and set it equal to what the chat text view text was before plus the received message. So now in these bottom two functions, we're basically just going to tell the browser that appears when a person tries to join how to go away. And now we'll run it and see if it works. So I can't show you the full capabilities with one phone since you need another phone, but I can show you how you can host, disconnect, join, and when you pull up the keyboard, it goes away when you tap on the screen.